welcome back to the HN College Football Show. Jhett, how was your weekend, friend?
You know, a lot of good things happened over the weekend. Notre Dame picks up a win. IU picks up a win. I was right. I felt like our picks collectively were pretty good this week. We missed a couple, obviously, but we're going to get into that today. I thought that things went very well. The only thing that can make my weekend better is a New York Jets win tonight over
let's go wide.
One of your two teams.
Let's go wide. Let's go wide. Go wide.
Go wide.
So as you see, the Bills and the Jets will be facing off at MetLife tonight.
You guys see
not
the better...
JetLife, it's MetLife.
JetLife Stadium. I mean, you see who's the better quarterback is.
It's Josh Allen. Can you turn my mic up a little bit more?
It's as high as mine.
Okay,
but
whatever.
we'll put yours higher, I guess.
It's all right. So yeah, we got a big time matchup tonight at MetLife. I think the Bills. I really don't like picking my own teams, but as close as the game gets to us, I think the Bills will win more and more.
I am so sold that the New York Jets are going to put Josh Allen in hell. Pardon my French, but they're going to put him in a box, and it's going to be a really bad day for Buffalo. The Jets are going to win by 2 touchdowns at least.
We'll see. Other than college, great NFL yesterday. Really great stuff. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about the absolute Megaton Chernobyl explosion that happened over the weekend. And that is college football week 2. I feel like we're kicked in already. There are so many good games this weekend. And it was Parents' Weekend, and my parents were in town, which means Coach was over for a little bit, and he said around 10 o'clock, he was at my apartment quite early because they had to pack everything up. Then we went to Buffalo's, a great lunch at Buffalo's. He says, like, man, there are no good games on today. And I'm like, you're joking, right? You're joking. I just went off and listed all these games that happened, and they all delivered. All of them. All of them.
I agree.
So should we just hop right into them?
I say we hop right into it.
Let's start in Tuscaloosa, where the Alabama Crimson Tide let Texas run all over them.
They didn't let Texas.
They let them.
Texas did it. Listen.
No. Alabama let Texas run all over them, but Texas was like, if you insist. Because let me tell you, man, you were right about Quinn Ewers.
I was.
And I never said that you were wrong. It's just I thought it was going to take him a little bit to get going, and I never really thought that. Excuse me. I feel like every time I'm in the studio, I have to like burp every 5 seconds and just go like that. Anyway, Texas. You know, we were talking quite a bit about how Texas could do this, and they just went out and did it. And Texas is back.
Yeah, I'm very confident in saying that Texas is back. I'm very confident in all of the things I've been saying about Alabama, all the things I've been saying about Texas. I really felt like they were all accurate in this game. I think that on the offensive side of the ball, Texas is one of the best offenses in college football, if not the best. I think that Alabama defense is widely overrated. I think Kool-Aid McKinstry was not very good in this game. I don't think that where was Dallas Turner? Where was he making the big play? These are these guys that were supposed to be high draft picks. They're supposed to be these high talented players, and I'm not seeing it from them. I think Jalen Milroe looked really, really bad. There were a lot of mistakes made. Now, he threw some very good balls in this game, don't get me wrong, but I think overall, that quarterback situation there, that offensive coordinator situation there, there's some real problems for this Alabama team. I have been saying it. You have, I'm also sure, been saying it. This Alabama team is, I've been seeing a lot of Alabama compared to Lightning McQueen as Alabama is fading fast.
Did you just come up with that on the fly?
No, it's been, dude, you haven't seen the TikToks of where it's got like Alabama on McQueen.
No, but that was
and, like,
really good.
Texas and all
that.
That
was really good.
I should have just said I made that up.
So are we comparing Quinn Ewers to Jackson Storm?
I'm going to be honest. I have not. Really,
have you not seen Cars 3?
No.
All right, well, Jackson Storm is the guy that really takes over Lightning McQueen's career, but this is not a Pixar podcast. Listen, this Tommy Rees guy, man, Not
tried
really
telling
cutting
y'all.
it for Alabama.
I tried telling you guys, man. I tried telling everyone. They're like, oh, no, he's going to Alabama. No, he's not good. He's terrible. I'm so glad that he left Notre Dame. I was never upset when he left Notre Dame. I never liked him at Notre Dame. I apologize for interrupting you there, but good Lord, he's terrible.
And I want to get back to Jalen Milroe. Listen, Jalen Milroe is a good quarterback. There are many things that Jalen Milroe does well. Throwing the ball down the field is one of them. But you gotta, in order to be that Alabama guy, the guy for this team, you have to do everything. You have to be able to do everything. These Alabama fans have been blessed ever since. Oh boy, who was the quarterback before Jalen Hurts? Jake Coker?
I don't know.
After the Jake Coker, Blake Sims experiment, Alabama fans have been blessed. Jalen Hurts, Tua, Mac Jones, Bryce Young, and I wrote this down in my notebook. Let me get it real quick. I said, Jalen Milroe, listen, Jalen Milroe is good, but Jalen Milroe will not win Alabama the SEC. Maybe not even win them the West. Alabama is stuck with Jalen Milroe. He is not the caliber they need, but he's the best they got. So they're going to keep rolling with him. And I feel like if they ever step back and reassess and say, we need to go with Tyler Buchner and we need to go with Ty Simpson, it's going to get worse. So
Yeah.
Jalen Milroe can only get better from here. And thankfully, this was not a conference loss for Alabama. So they have all their goals still in front of them. They only have one loss. They have all their goals in front of them. I feel like this will be a big-time wake-up call for Jalen Milroe. And I feel like we'll see the real guts of Tommy Rees and how he crafts Jalen Milroe into the future of this Alabama team, because it's now or never for Alabama now.
I do agree, and I want to talk about Texas, but before we do that, I do want to say that I think Jalen Milroe showed some flashes that he can get it done. I don't think that he showed a ton of flashes. I thought he showed more poor play than great play, but I thought, running the ball pretty well. I thought there were a few passes there. There was obviously the deep ball that I think it was to Burton. That was obviously a really nice ball, but I saw some flashes from Milroe. But this Texas team, man, this is a good football team. We both picked Texas in this game. I was very adamant about picking Texas in this game because I've been so high on this team. I love this Texas team, top to bottom. I love their offense. I thought the defense played really well. I think that this receiving core, look, man, I know you have Ohio State, but Xavier Worthy was their third leading receiver, and I think Xavier Worthy is a top 3 receiver in the country.
How did he not lead them in receiving? JT Sanders led them in receiving.
Yeah.
How many yards did Worthy have? He had
He hit 75.
He had 10 catches. Yeah,
He had 5.
really.
JT Sanders, and we watched this game. But
We did watch this game together. Jhett was wearing a Texas shirt.
I would never have guessed that JT Sanders was the leading receiver. I know there were a couple plays there back to back where he got the ball, but I wouldn't have guessed that it was JT Sanders. But JT Sanders, AD Mitchell, Xavier, I mean, this receiving core is so good. Texas, I've been saying it all year.
They're back.
But they certainly are now back.
And
but
they are ready.
Also,
They're ready for the Southeastern Conference.
they are a national championship contender.
I agree. I really do agree. And I feel like a name that we're gonna know really quickly, we're gonna get to know a lot, is CJ Baxter. CJ Baxter will be very good. Quinn Ewers is that guy. He's that guy, man.
Yeah.
It was really this was the game. This was his legacy game, and he proved it. He proved why he's a 1-point infinity zero. I don't know why I don't just say 1.0, because whenever I read on 24/7, it's 1.00000. But I digress. Quinn Ewers is that guy. He's that guy. Mm-hmm. He was perfect rating on 24/7, and this was the game that really showed everyone why he was that good. And now Ohio State fans get to claim him. Congratulations, Ohio State.
They do this all the time, it feels like. I think that Quinn Ewers...
No, but Joe Burrow. But since Joe Burrow played like dog water yesterday, he's an LSU Tiger now. So
Correct.
They take away his diploma whenever he plays bad.
I loved going into this year. Quinn Ewers was my number 2. Who is that?
That guy did not look happy seeing us in here. My goodness.
Going into this year, Quinn Ewers was my number 2 quarterback in the entire country. I think that he had a lot of potential. I thought he was very, very good. He had Alabama beat last year, and he went into Tuscaloosa and beat them this year. And a lot of people question me for saying Quinn Ewers being QB2 in the country. Obviously, you have Drake May, you have Michael Penix, you have a lot of this is a really good quarterback driven
draft.
Yeah. And I think that Quinn Ewers is right there. I said that Quinn Ewers is QB2 and that the gap between him and Caleb Williams is not that far apart. It is closer than what people think it is.
He just throws the ball. Those 2 touchdown passes to Mitchell and Worthy, they were just so effortless.
Yes.
Like he listen, go wide for a second. This is going to be...
Oh, God.
If you're watching on YouTube, you'll see this.
Oh, God.
He just takes the ball, and he just goes like that. It's like you're throwing like a little paper ball into a trash can. He just goes, oh, and he just drops it in there. He's so good.
Kenny, were you quarterback at PC?
No. Shout out, Schnelly. Schnelly, if you're listening, I love you, man. Don't ever question my Lions fandom again. No, I was not quarterback at PC because PC just runs the ball. They run and run and run and run. But 2021 Smack Champs. Anyway, Quinn Ewers is the guy. I pose you this question, though.
Okay.
Has Quinn Ewers proved himself to be the second best in the draft? He won't surpass Caleb because we know what Caleb can do. However, should Quinn Ewers stay another year, get a taste of the SEC, prove that he is one of the best to ever do it, maybe win a Heisman Trophy, maybe win an SEC championship, maybe win a national championship next year, or does he go immediately?
I think that there's a few points there. One, I think that Quinn Ewers can surpass Caleb Williams. Maybe a hot take. I think it can happen. Two,
This season?
yes.
I don't see that happening, but
Two, I think that if Quinn Ewers stays, it will not be at Texas because here's why.
we did talk about this.
We did
talk about this.
If Quinn Ewers stays another year, because Texas fans were already ready this year, anytime Quinn Ewers messed up, they want Arch
Time
Manning.
for Arch.
You imagine sophomore Arch Manning. If Quinn Ewers throws an incomplete pass, he's going to be booed off the field, and they want Arch Manning.
Or does Arch transfer? Does Arch transfer to Ole Miss?
Arch could transfer.
Arch could totally transfer to Ole Miss if Lane stays, but Lane could move anywhere, any second of any time. So I feel like there's a better chance that Arch.
That's a good
that
point.
Arch leaves than Quinn leaves.
That's a good point.
Because Sark and Quinn are like this now.
Mm-hmm.
They're like this. They got their signature win, and now they're ready to get going. So I think if Quinn stays, Arch goes to Ole Miss, which should be like Arch should have went to Ole Miss first.
Well, NIL. Probably better.
There
Probably a better
are a lot of
market there in
NIL
Texas.
resources, and there are a lot of NIL resources in Oxford.
Come to the sit, baby.
Do we want to move on to the next
That's all
game?
I got on. That's all I got on that. We were right about Texas, and
We were right about Texas.
I was right about Alabama.
Yeah, it's a Texas are upon you. We may
All
open
right.
the show with that if I get off my butt and screen record something. All right, next game that we want to talk about is: do we really need to talk about Notre Dame, NC State, other than the weather delay really helped Notre Dame?
Started out as a good game. I was nervous, and then Sam Hartman decided to turn it up. Audric Estime, come on now. Holden Stays had a great game. Other than that, Notre Dame is a legit football team. So
I wrote this down in my book that, let me see here. I wrote this. Delay a blessing for Notre Dame, question mark?
It was.
1,000%.
It was.
And I wrote this down here. I said during the break to JMO, Notre Dame is coming out of this break, and they are boat racing these kids. And I'm telling you right now, Brendan Armstrong has fallen off the side of the earth.
Mm-hmm.
That offense, I don't know if it was the rain or if it was actually the offense, but that offense right out of the break was unwatchable.
Yeah.
I turned that game off, and I'm like, Notre Dame's got this. I don't care what the score is. I did turn it on one more time after I got a text about Notre Dame. It was 24-17.
It was
They missed the
24-17.
field goal, and I'm like, okay, this game is absolutely over. So that's how we need to talk about Notre Dame. You good with that?
Yeah, I'm good. Notre Dame is legit.
Well, while we're talking about Notre Dame, let's just talk
Okay.
about Michigan. People are overreacting about Michigan and their lack of dominance in the non-conference. Michigan gave up 20 points, either 17 or 21 points last year in the non-conference. They have given up 14 already this season. People are starting to get worried, and I have no idea why. because even if it's the running backs, it's certainly not JJ, because JJ has been near perfect. He's been near perfect this season, so JJ's doing his thing. But Blake Corum and Donovan Edwards look like shells of themselves.
I just look at this Michigan team and
I just need an unbiased take of the trajectory of this team.
I'm giving you one. I said this last year about the squad. You can disagree. They played a very easy schedule. They played one tough game, and it was Ohio State. That was it. That was their only tough game. Their other tough game, TCU, and they got hammered in that game. I don't care what you talk about. Let me finish. They're in a similar situation this year. Nebraska is not good. That will be an easy win. Minnesota, they received a few votes this week, actually, in the AP poll, but that will be an easy win.
They're going to get crushed this week in North Carolina.
Michigan State, not the best light in the program there. They're real. They have 2 games this year they play that are competitive, and they're both the 2 of the last 3 weeks of the season. That's at Penn State and at Ohio State. At Penn State is their first real test, and that's November 11th. So they will probably be undefeated going into that game.
You're saying that we should assess Michigan after they go to play Penn State?
I'm saying that this is they play friggin' Bowling Green and Rutgers and like the Big Ten is just I don't know, man.
I did not ask you about Michigan's schedule. I asked them about the team.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We're not going to really know anything about. We're going to continue. It's going to be like last year where that's tough to tell, and they're going to sit at number 2 or 3 ranking because they're not going to lose.
All right, sounds good.
When I don't think that they're the second best team in the country.
It did come out that Donovan Edwards did not practice at all in fall camp. He did not practice. He worked out. He did not practice. So for everyone freaking out about Donovan Edwards, I would say just give him time. And while they are in this non-conference Rutgers-y schedule, maybe give the ball to Khalil Mullings in practice. Let him see what he can do. Because if Donovan goes down again, or if Blake goes down again, someone's got to step up. Because we can't have no more fumbles. We can't have no more fumbles in the red zone against TCU. None of that. All right, but JJ, Roman Wilson, keep doing your thing, baby. Let's go. Let's go, man. How about Roman? How about him, baby? Defense looks good. It's UNLV. Who cares? All right, next game. You know what? Do you want to just choose a game that happened? Okay, you're taking too long. Utah, Baylor.
That's the one I was going for.
Utah and Baylor.
Go ahead and say that again because I'm editing out that dead space.
Okay. Next game, Utah and Baylor. So, Utah is bad with Bryson Barnes.
Yeah.
They are passable with Nate Johnson. They need Rising back.
They have to.
They need him. Because it's about to get real. There are eight ranked teams in the Pac-12. It's about to get real.
The fact that Rising didn't play in this game, I thought was just. I think he could have played in this game, but they rested him anyways, and it almost came back and screwed him. Quinn Jackson had a very good game. This is what I thought they needed to do last week against Florida. Luckily, Barnes and John they didn't need to, but they needed Jackson this week. And he played pretty good. They're not getting this receiving room involved enough because they don't have a very good passing quarterback. I mean, Johnson's been okay. Bryson Barnes has been horrible.
Oh my Outside his first pass of the season, he's been horrible.
It's been terrible.
I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I really like Utah a lot this year. I like their fans. Bryson Barnes is not it. He's just not it. Nate Johnson, listen, Cam needs to start Weaver State next week, 11 p.m. local. Mm-hmm. Or, sorry, 11 a.m. local. Sorry. Cam needs to play the first half. Get him back in. Get him ready for UCLA. And then have Nate Johnson play the rest of the game because they need Cam to be good.
Because it's about to get tough. I don't think UCLA is very good. I think that'll be an easy win at Oregon State, at USC, against Oregon, Washington, Colorado. At Arizona, I even could see this being that could be like a little trap game in between Washington and Colorado. So I think that this schedule is about to get really real. Pac-12 they have 8 teams ranked this week. Pac-12 has been very good this year.
Bright future for that conference.
Really bright future for that conference.
Yeah, Utah, Cam's got to get back or else it could go south. I don't think it will because they'll find a way to win. I trust Witt a lot. But yeah, this team can't go forward with Bryson Barnes. I think Nate Johnson's the real deal. He could probably transfer somewhere and be really good next year.
Johnson?
Nate Johnson?
Why wouldn't he stay? Isn't this Cam Rising's like last year?
No idea. We'll see. Let me just look at my book here. Okay, Nebraska, Colorado.
Wow.
This Shedeur Sanders kid is the truth.
He can play.
He can ball. And Colorado, you don't want to mess with these guys because they're all on the same page. I feel like the whole Deion, I told you this. I either told you or JMO this. I wonder what it's like being a player on that Colorado team not named Shiloh Sanders, Shedeur Sanders, Travis Hunter, or Dylan Edwards. I wonder how it is.
What does it matter? They're winning.
Well, I know, but does he just favorite them in practice? I just want to know how it is from like a non Sanders or Edwards or Hunter.
I don't think they do.
I feel like Deion's all worked up. I mean, I love Deion. It's great for the sport. But I just feel like Deion is really focused just on getting these guys to the league and then leaving Colorado to go somewhere else. That's the vibe I'm getting. Sure, they're winning games.
Well, if he continues to recruit the way he is and he continues to bring in high-level players and high-level talent, maybe he stays. I hope he never goes to the NFL. I don't think he ever will.
He'll never go to the NFL.
He's been very adamant about that.
He'll never go to the NFL.
I want to see him stay in college football because it's been very good. This Colorado team has been arguably the most fun team in college football this year. They have Colorado State this coming week, and then it's to Oregon, which is going to be a very good football game, and then against USC. I hope to God they beat USC by 4 touchdowns.
I was telling you on Saturday, I don't want to like USC this year. But it's really hard when I'm on this Caleb train that has no sight of slowing down. I don't want to be on this USC train. I don't want him to win the Heisman again. But he might just do it. But listen, for Colorado, I think that this team could be. They showed that offense. That offense stayed consistent against a good defense. Nebraska has a good defense. Say what you want about Jeff Sims. I'll continue to like him. Say what you want about Jeff Sims. That Nebraska defense is for real. It's for real. And I watch all these Nebraska games and Nebraska, Minnesota, and Illinois as, through a lens of a Michigan-Indiana fan. Where is Illinois beatable for Indiana? Where is Nebraska and Minnesota beatable for Michigan? I think this defense is legit. I think Michigan will have fits with that. And that's why I'm saying good on Colorado for getting past a proven defense, because TCU's defense is garbage.
Mm-hmm.
This offense is insane, and I do not want this defense to slow down. This offense to slow down, because it is good for the sport. It is good for the Pac-12 in its last year, and I like it a lot. And I'm happy for Deion. I've always loved Deion, and we were driving the other day. And you saw that Falcons jersey.
That's a tough jersey.
So Jhett was driving me back from my women's soccer game, and we saw a guy in a vintage Falcons Deion jersey, and he goes, "It's a hell of a jersey."
It's just a great jersey.
Look at the kid there, hell of a jersey. Yeah,
those black Falcons uniform jerseys are just some of the best ever. They are so clean.
And then for Jeff Sims, I think Jeff Sims will be fine. He should just stay another year. He'll get better. I guarantee you he will get better.
I'm out on him.
He is so raw. And I just feel like another year in that system, they get a good quarterback guy. I was telling JMO, if you get a guy like let's say Joe Brady gets fired by the Bills this year, God forbid, because if he gets fired, that means something bad's going to happen. You get a guy like Joe Brady that crafted Joe Burrow at LSU around Jeff Sims. Jeff Sims could be a Heisman finalist next year. Am I wrong or am I wrong?
I think you're wrong. Personally, I think you're wrong. But you know what? If you believe it, you can say it. And if it's true, then you can come back in a year and say, you know what? Hey, remember that time that I was right?
I think that Jeff Sims is for real, just not right now. We saw glimpses of it at Georgia Tech last year. We saw one play where he took one to the house. And so, yeah, that's what I have to say about Jeff Sims. Everything else about Nebraska's offense is really boring. Their defense is good, as I said. And, we'll go to the next game.
Yeah.
Let me take a look at the notebook. Oh, yes. Tulane and Ole Miss. Boy, Ole Miss. I still don't buy Ole Miss. Michael Pratt plays in that game. Ole Miss loses.
No, I don't. I can't say that. Can't say that.
College football is better when Ole Miss is good, but I just don't buy this Ole Miss train. I don't buy Jackson Dart. Quinshon Judkins is good. I just don't. It's just going to be a very Ole Miss year. It's going to be a very 9-3 year for Ole Miss. They got Alabama in 2 weeks in Oxford. So
could be a good
or
game.
maybe I think it's in Tuscaloosa.
Is it?
It's in Tuscaloosa. It was in Oxford last year. I just don't buy Ole Miss. I don't. And I just don't like Jackson Dart. I think Lane will never take that big jump. He'll never take that big jump. Unless I'm proven otherwise, he'll never take that big jump to get to national championship caliber. Ole Miss will always be in the middle of the pack for the West.
I like this game. I like this Ole Miss team. They won by 17, and Quinshon Judkins had 48 rushing yards, and that's their best player on the whole team. So if they're winning by 17, their best player is not playing very good, then I think they're going to do some good things. Will they go into Tuscaloosa and win? Probably not, but it was proven this past week that if you game play, Texas showed really the blueprint for how to go in and win in Tuscaloosa. 9-3 looks pretty good. At Alabama, at Georgia, at Mississippi State, they play LSU at home, but I don't think. I mean, Ole Miss isn't going to win the SEC by any means, nor will they go to the college football playoff. But I don't think they're that bad of a football team.
All right, that's really all we need to talk about that game. Another game I want to talk about: A&M and Miami. Boy, watching that game, the first half of that game was 2.5 hours long. I swear to God.
Felt like it.
It was a long one. It was really long. And I say this. I know Miami beat Texas A&M. I'm still not into Miami. I'm not.
I don't know. I've taken my victories today, and I have celebrated my victories, but I will also acknowledge my losses, and I think Tyler Van Dyke played a very good football game. Complete, top to bottom, 374 yards, 5 touchdowns, had 9 incompletions in this ball game. I'm not sold on Van Dyke, but he played extremely well, and he won this game for Miami. And I'm not saying that I'm in on Miami. I'm not saying that I would put him maybe in my top 25. Maybe outside looking in. Maybe they're in. But personally, I think that Van Dyke played very good, and I will take my loss here on Van Dyke.
I think we'll figure out the result, like the overall result of this game, as these teams play more games. We'll see. Obviously, we'll see how these teams match up in the grand scheme of things as they play more games. I just don't think Miami. I just don't. Sure, Miami can go 5-0 until they get North Carolina and then Clemson. Miami has an easy schedule, and so we're gonna find out quick.
Could Miami win the ACC?
No.
Could it be Miami, Florida State?
They're not touching Florida State. No way.
They play at Florida State.
They're not touching Florida State in Tallahassee or in Charlotte. There's no way that happens.
Could they make it to the championship game?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. But they got to get past Duke.
Love the Dukies.
Watch out for Duke. All right. Texas A&M, however, they get Alabama at home. They have 4 games in a row at home. Louisiana Monroe, Auburn, Arkansas, Alabama. I think they win all of those games. Could they beat Alabama in College Station?
Depends.
They could. But
They let this game get away from them.
Yeah. Because I thought Connor Wegman had a good first half.
Yeah. And then being a big Connor Wegman guy, going into the year, very high hopes for him. I thought he played very well in the first half. Second half kind of fell apart a little bit, but I don't know, man. I don't know what to say about either side here. I think Texas A&M hopefully doesn't have another 4-8 season, but you could kind of see things start to snowball here after a game like this. You have to get back in, you have to lock it in, and you have to continue forward because this team didn't have college football playoff hopes this year like they did last year. So you're not going to look at the team and say, okay, we got one loss, win out. No. But just you have to show improvement. You have to show a little bit of life based upon last season. And did they show that in the second half of this game? No, they didn't. And so, I don't know.
I still buy the roster of A&M over Miami. These receivers for A&M are really good. Moose Muhammad, Evan Stewart, Anais Smith. I like all those guys. I think Connor Wegman will have a good season. And so I say this. Take a look at this schedule for A&M. Pull it up on your computer. This is a rather favorable schedule. Tennessee is beatable. In Knoxville.
At Tennessee?
In Knoxville, Tennessee is beatable. This Tennessee team is beatable. South Carolina, they'll win. At Ole Miss, very beatable. Mississippi State, at home, beatable. The one game on here that I think is a definite loss is at LSU. But we'll see how they craft themselves, and we'll see what they're capable of before they go into Baton Rouge.
Right now, just looking, I see a loss at Tennessee, a loss at Ole Miss, a loss at LSU, and probably lose against Alabama at home. You're 8-4 right there, and that's not accounting for maybe Arkansas comes in and gets an upset. Maybe Spencer Rattler has a day. Mississippi State's an okay ball club, I think. This season can, I think, really snowball away from them. It's definitely a favorable schedule, don't get me wrong, but this season can definitely get away from them very quickly.
Mm-hmm. I agree. It's just these are two crazy teams. Two teams in the exact same situation, and they just happen to have a home and home.
Yeah.
When they cross this path of unknown, unprovenness. So that's all I got for this game. We talked about Texas, talked about Jalen Milroe.
What about little
Texas Tech, Oregon.
We can go Texas Tech, Oregon.
Where were you going to go?
I was going to go Wisconsin, Washington State,
well,
but
we'll go after Texas Tech, Oregon.
Okay.
Texas Tech lost the game themselves.
Yes.
They went for it in their own red zone.
Stupid.
Really bad. You can't. Why? I think Joey McGuire is a good coach. That's a bad call. That's a bad call. And those Texas Tech 6.5 betters, man, they really shed some tears that night after Oregon takes that pop-up fumble interception to the house to ice it as a 6-point victory.
Which I will stand on this, man. He should have just went down, need the clock out. I think that it is, to me, man, when I see stuff like that happen, bro, it's just selfish, man. It's just you can have your interception, you go down, you win the game. You have your interception, you take your touchdown, you're celebrating, you're having a great time. Oh, now Texas Tech can go score and tie this game up, and they got very close. Closer than it should have been. So just that was, I guess, not it could have been a big part of this game, but just things like that, man, it's just selfish, and it's never really, it doesn't sit right with me. Outside of that, though, I thought Oregon played very good in that fourth quarter. Outscored Texas Tech 20-3. Bo Nix is so good, man. We had a time where we were watching Bo Nix and Quinn Ewers at the same time, and if we could have thrown Sam Hartman and Cam Ward in there, I think that might have been just like heaven, a little slice of heaven for me, because those are probably my four favorite quarterbacks in the entire country. And Bo Nix played very well. Quinn Ewers played very well. Troy Franklin had a very big 72-yard touchdown in this game that ultimately kind of became a big point in this game.
It really drew the line for Oregon going away. And I think Tech scored first. And after that Troy Franklin, that was really the shifting of the tide. And Texas Tech kind of accepted that they would be behind the rest of the game. They had a chance to win, but they couldn't do it. All right, want to go up to Pullman, Washington?
I'd love to, man. You know me.
Shout out Jake Dickert for saying after the game that Washington State belongs in the Power 5, and I absolutely agree. And I feel like Washington State is a Pac-12 after dark staple. You'll always be watching Washington State play somebody at 10 o'clock. And I feel like they need to have that national spotlight. They cannot go to the Mountain West. It just won't be the same, and it's not fair. It's not fair.
No. Looking at this game, man, I'll continue to hone home my Cameron Ward agenda. But what I'm also going to hone home here is Tanner Mordecai has now been outperformed twice at the quarterback position. One of them by Buffalo and the other by Washington State, which not trashing on Cam Ward. I would never do that. But Tanner Mordecai, maybe not what we thought he was going to Wisconsin. I know you were pretty high on him. I was kind of high on him. But I think that this squad right here, man, this Washington State squad, they're ranked 23, I believe, this week in the AP poll. And it's so good, man. I love being right. What can I say?
Oh, boy. I want to talk about being right. The guy who was on the Phil Longo, Tanner Mordecai train, Luke Fickell train. My gosh. Oh, boy. They still got a lot of football left to be played for the Badgers. But, my goodness, Tanner Mordecai, what are you doing, man? What are you doing? Do I put all my trust in you? Like, what? Ugh. I knew that this game was going to be... I knew that Washington State was going to win this game. But this was a game where Wisconsin needed to prove me wrong. And my faith in Tanner Mordecai needed to be proved correctly, even when I doubted him. Granted, as I just said, there will be a lot more football to be played. I still think Wisconsin wins the West. Wisconsin will be up there for the West. Iowa's defense looks really good. But Wisconsin is nothing's going right for Wisconsin right now. And I just feel like there's a lot of football left to be played. They can do this. But it's really it's some uninspiring football.
I will say going with Luke Fickell, it was the right move. Ish.
Totally. Ish.
But
no, he's totally the right move.
Here's why I'm saying ish. Because I don't know if Luke Fickell can get it done in Power 5 football. I see Wisconsin, especially when you're going to bring in USC, Oregon, Washington. Who else? Who am I forgetting? UCLA. You bring those in. Wisconsin, I just see being a preliminary 7-5, 8-4 team every year. I really do. Maybe 6-6. I don't think Wisconsin's not better than Michigan, Ohio State, Oregon, USC, Washington. They just lost
maybe even
to Washington
Iowa.
State,
maybe even Iowa,
Penn State. There's 7 teams right there that they're not better than, and that's in their own conference. You can make an argument UCLA. UCLA is definitely a better recruiting destination. People want to go play in California opposed to friggin' Wisconsin.
Yeah.
You know? I'm just saying.
There is a lot of football left to be played. And Tanner Mordecai and Braylon Allen and this defense can pose a threat to Iowa. But it's got to be proven now.
I don't think
it's got to be proven now. Because Iowa's defense looks really good. We'll get into the Cyhawk game right now. Why don't we? Iowa's defense is a machine. And that's common knowledge. It's a machine. Let's take a look at the point total again for Iowa because
it's that weekly segment. We love it.
It's the Brian Ferentz check-in segment of the HN College Football Show. Is Iowa not ranked?
No, they were not last week, apparently. I was just looking at that. But
all right. Here we go. Big Ten. Iowa, man.
Looked like they were going to get it.
Phil Parker needs a head coaching job. Phil Parker, the next head coach at Michigan State. Dave Aranda, the next coach at Michigan State. Phil Parker is a genius. And there is a lot of Kirk Ferentz in that Phil Parker mind, too. But Iowa State's not good, and Iowa's offense is still not good either.
No.
So Iowa scored 24 last week. They scored 20 this week, but there was a pick 6. And so it looks like they're crediting Brian Ferentz. They're giving Brian Ferentz the pick 6, so he's at 44 points.
I'm not giving him the pick 6. No, absolutely not.
I feel I don't know because there's no official ruling. The Iowa Athletic Department is not giving us an official ruling on the point total.
Then I'll give you the official ruling. It doesn't count.
So Iowa is averaging 22 points a game. It's not good enough. Without that pick six, they're averaging less than that.
They're averaging probably, 18 points a game right now?
We don't do math here.
Yeesh.
We do podcasting,
24,
but my
13,
goodness.
The middles. Yeah, about 18 and a half a game, right? Someone help me
I just think that pick six should not count towards his win total, and he is screwed. He is screwed.
It's over, man.
And I really did not want to get to this. I really don't want to get to this. Shame on Cade McNamara for saying that Iowa, he's not used to his defensive scoring points. Shame on him.
You've really flipped the last week.
Cade McNamara has burned every bridge that he brought that he created in Ann Arbor.
Last week you were kind of leaning. You kind of wanted to.
I was leaning because when the hot shot quarterback takes over the incumbent, I'm gonna get mad. Let's say I'm the quarterback. Let's say I'm the quarterback at Indiana, and you're a 5-star from IMG. You're a 5-star from IMG. You come in after I won this job in a trying time, and you say, "Yo, what up, dude? I'm a 5-star quarterback that's gonna take your job whenever. Let me learn under your wing." Like, no, okay, I get that Kate didn't want to talk to JJ then, but now he's dissing. He's just dissing Michigan, saying that he's not used to Michigan's top 5 defense. Top 5 scoring defense, not scoring points. That's ridiculous. So I'm really out in Cade McNamara now, and I hope Michigan sees Iowa first week of December because it's gonna get ugly. It'll get ugly. It will get ugly.
I'm seeing.
Keep running your mouth, Cade.
I'm seeing here. Maybe there was a lot of bad blood on this exit from Michigan between Cade and the university. Maybe not the university, but the football program. And it's cinema. I don't want to see Iowa make it.
It is cinema. Because Cade, against Iowa State, given the offensive sample size, granted, it is a Brian Ferentz offense, 12 for 22, 123, averaging 5 yards a play, 52.7 QBR. That's just not going to fly at Michigan. And so the decision needed to be. I don't know why we're still talking about this decision. The decision needed to be made. It needed to be made, and it's just how college football is. This isn't the 1980s.
I will say.
In Iowa City, though, they do still think it is the 1980s. So if you're gonna go play like a 1980s quarterback, go play at Iowa. But this is just not how a modern offense is.
I don't think Cade McNamara is in a position to be talking because Iowa State literally. They both scored 13 points. It was the defense that won this game. So, I don't know. I don't think he's in a position to be talking, but I digress.
And to think that, every Michigan fan was rooting for Cade and saying, like, oh, Cade, we all wish the best for Cade, and now how that narrative has flipped on Michigan Twitter, I think that's just really ironic, and I think it's sad. It's sad.
It's
sad.
We don't make the rules.
When I locked eyes with Cade at the Nashville airport, I got really, really like, this is the guy, man. This is the guy. If Joe Milton ever flares out, this is the guy. And then when he finally won the Big Ten, I'm like, this is the guy. And then he stabs Michigan in the back. And it will not end well for him.
Unbelievable. An
embarrassment of riches. JJ, I love you so much.
All right.
All right. Now let's shift our focus to the team here in Bloomington. Tayven Jackson is now the starting quarterback of the Indiana University Hoosiers.
It should have. Oh, man. There was no other decision to be made. I'm telling you this right now, man. If I see, unless Tayven Jackson plays bad, if I see Brendan Sorsby step foot on that field, I'm going to be disappointed. I'm going to be extremely disappointed because Tayven Jackson is the guy. He is the guy. I know it was Indiana State. I understand that. I get that. They are not by any means a good football program. They have yet to score an offensive touchdown this year. But Tayven Jackson threw some phenomenal balls. They got the receiving room incorporated into this. They got the running back room incorporated. Jalen Lucas, 2 touchdowns. Josh Henderson, a touchdown. A little bit of life from the Indiana team. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, we're going to a bowl, this or that. A little bit of life shown in this game.
Listen, I really, really, really hate being critical of players at this university. I hate being critical of players on this team. But this team is just a way more cohesive unit with Tayven out there. And I think just even in garbage time, Brendan Sorsby couldn't get the job done just to score.
Yeah.
Which was not the assignment, probably. It was not the assignment to go out there and score a bunch of willy-nilly points in the last 5 minutes of the fourth quarter against Indiana State. But Tayven looks he looks free out there. He can throw that rock. He had that scramble touchdown. It was the decision that had to be made, and I knew that Brendan Sorsby was going to start against Ohio State. I knew that. I just didn't know how it would play out. The jury is not out on Tayven Jackson, but what I do know is that he should be the starter for this team. And I feel like they have...
the offense
they can beat Louisville next week.
Yes.
They can.
Louisville's not very good. We saw that. Who'd they play when we were Georgia Tech? They didn't look great. I know they beat Georgia Tech, but
they beat Murray State by a lot too.
Yeah,
but this defense is good. This defense gave up 0 points again.
I think...
Not again. They gave up 20 to Ohio State. I'm sorry. Forget.
I think that
they gave up 0 points.
This offense is so much more open, and it is so much more not just one-dimensional with Tayven Jackson at the helm. They can run. They have to. Tayven Jackson can do it with his legs. He can throw the ball. He proved that this past week he can throw the ball. This offense is much more spread out and diverse with Tayven Jackson at the helm.
And now it's all up to Walt Bell to call the right plays to get this team in the position to win.
Yeah.
Unless Tayven throws 3 picks and looks horrible against Louisville, it's going to be on Walt Bell's shoulders.
Yeah.
It really is.
I agree.
You need to call the right plays for this team to succeed. This is not a Brian Ferentz offense where it's been the same way for 15 years. Walt Bell needs to modernize this team and just throw the ball down the field against a coherent team like Louisville. Sorry, ISU, but, one of the worst FCS teams. Sorry. Louisville is a beatable team in a neutral site.
I want to point out as well, I don't want this to go unnoticed, but that duo of Aaron Casey, Andre Carter, still looking very good. Andre Carter had 2 TFLs, a sack. Linnell Carr coming in with a 1.5 TFLs and a sack. This team had 4 sacks, 7 TFLs.
This defense is for real.
The defense looks good.
This defense is for real.
Defense looks good. I'm excited. I'm excited for the defense. And look, again, I know it's just Indiana State, but it's tough to see this quarterback play from Tayven Jackson. It's tough to see the defense playing very well and not be like, okay, we can maybe win, we can win if we can get to a bowl game this year. They can beat Louisville. They can beat Akron.
Maryland looks average.
Maryland didn't look very good. You could realistically...
Michigan State looks beatable.
You're looking here... I could see Indiana going into Maryland and winning. You're looking at a 5-1 start going into Michigan. Are you going to go into Michigan and win? No. Rutgers at home, 6-2. At Penn State, you probably lose, 6-3. Wisconsin...
Looks average.
That's a winnable game at home. Let's say 7-3, right? At Illinois...
Looks average.
Can this team win 9 games this year?
Okay. Stop talking. Stop. Sorry, guys. Sorry.
I said let's say best case scenario, this team wins 9 games this year. It's probably not going to happen, but hey, you've been the hopeful one.
Screw us, go wide. Screw us for having hope. Screw us for having hope.
You've been the hopeful one. Why now I have a little bit of hope, and you're going to come at me? Look at this beautiful jersey.
Look at this jersey.
Look at this. Tell me this jersey is not one of the
It's a nice jersey.
On.
Are they going to wear those tonight? Are they wearing the
tonight,
throwbacks?
Baby.
They're wearing those tonight?
Oh, yeah.
The Bills are wearing these tonight, so. Okay. We talked about what we needed to talk about. We're going to go wide to finish this out. We thank you so much for listening, watching, interacting. It was an absolute megaton explosion of college football over the weekend, and we cannot wait to be back here on Wednesday and Friday to preview week 3, which is not the greatest matchup-wise, but the games will be played, and we're going to watch them, and we're going to preview them, we're going to review them. So we will be back on Wednesday. Anything else?
Jets. Jets.
All right. Bills make me want to shout. Go Bills. We'll see you Wednesday. We love college football. We love the Hoosier Network. We'll see you later. Peace.